You say buzzword. I say truth. There are levels to that. There are levels to this.
There's
man.
even like mixed reality. I've seen some crazy stuff.
Didn't somebody buy a plot of land for like $1 million or $1.5 million in the metaverse to just be neighbors with Snoop Dogg?
Exactly.
Now every month we're probably looking at $1,000.
There it is, folks.
Yeah, venture hustles, life is really what you make it. Building up your brand is whatever you create it. Really ain't no limit. You just gotta love it. Working day and night, it's all about the venture hustle. Hey, venture hustles. Time to take it to the next level. Let's go.
Are we rolling?
Yeah, we're rolling video audio. We're good to go.
All right, thank you for the clap, Emil. That's the fourth time because Mr. Spat here.
This guy's a new nickname for me every single day.
This one's a good one. Supreme Commander. There's a lot of nicknames.
Whenever you're ready with the intro, like where everyone else is ready.
I think we should keep this as the B-roll. This is the intro. Well, welcome back to the Venture Hustles podcast. This is Saj and
my name is Jack.
My name's Jack. That's what it reminded me of.
Why you like this?
Hey, man. Off the cuff today, you know. But welcome back. This is Saj and Jack. Mm-hmm. You know, as you can see, this is the end of the day on business for us where it's a little, you know, we're a little delirious, but, you know, we're locked in. We're locked in.
Yeah.
But if you're listening to us for the first time or you haven't, you know, or you've been following us for a while, we talk about startups, tech, entrepreneurship, businesses, the hustles behind building your brand, the tips and tricks of, you know, doing things to, you know, based on our experiences and our ventures and our past hustles. This is our platform. This is where we talk about all of these things, and you know, we also bring in guests from time to time.
Yeah, we do. Definitely excited for some of the people that we have coming on. No spoiler alert. You'll have to tune in to see.
Yeah.
But with that being said, today's episode decided to talk about one of the buzzwords going around in 2022, the metaverse.
You say buzzword, I say truth.
I say white, you say
black. Well, when we're done with this little 3-4-year-old back and forth, I think the metaverse is a very attractive term, especially if you've been around the crypto, the startup, the NFT worlds, the tech worlds recently.
Yeah, for sure.
You definitely heard it. If you don't, you may not know about it. You may not know what we're talking about. But you've definitely heard. You must have definitely heard it, right?
So why don't you explain in layman's terms, or simply, you know, what is a metaverse? What is the metaverse? I mean, from an educational standpoint.
From an educational standpoint, I think I want to start technical first, right?
Okay.
So let's technically, to the best of my knowledge, and again, I could be completely wrong here. We're in a very, very untested waters. We're in a very we're in new territory here. So even if somebody tells me that my definition is wrong, I would want to know what their vision or their understanding of the metaverse is. Before
you get into it, I think that our thoughts here are pretty strong because we do live in this world. We are currently building a few metaverses currently.
Correct.
So with taking that into account, Mr. Saj?
Well, from a technical standpoint, what I understand is with the word metaverse, the word or phrase Web3 has been very, very prominent. So the people that don't understand what Web3 means, it's really just the new age internet when it comes to crypto and blockchain.
Yep.
That's what Web3 is in a nutshell. Yeah. So Web 2.0 was really just the .com, the internet era, with the boom of, you know, Yahoo, AIM, Microsoft, MSN Messenger, and I'm talking about like the OGs, right?
MSN Messenger.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't know what it is, you missed out a lot, Mr. Spatero. But I can tell you that that's when Web 2.0 was prominent, and it established a lot of ground rules and set the foundation for future titans to come and take over. Now we're in Web 3, and this has been a really long time. I'm talking 2+ decades of us being in this dormant phase where we were completely consumed by Web 2.0.
Yep.
the internet, the .com phase.
Yeah.
And now we're in Web3, where we're hearing this in the space that we're in so much, and it's being clearly defined that this is the crypto blockchain integrations. They're even talking about a decentralized internet completely based off of the blockchain systems.
Yep.
And that's the at least the baseline definition of Web3. When I talk to Web3 developers, this is what they resonate. This is what they see. There are developers as we speak. When I say developers, I mean programmers, engineers, software engineers. They're learning new mechanisms within the blockchain and the crypto world to create and set the foundation of what the Web 3.0 is going to be in the future. So
Super cool.
Super cool. And to answer your question, what is the metaverse? I think it goes hand in hand with Web 3.0.
Okay.
The technical breakdown is really just real life and virtual world applications of what we're familiar with in the real life, but within the blockchain, within the crypto world, within this virtual currency network and chain and world that we are so familiar with, and we know how turbulent it has been. I want to note that as well. But I think that this is where we're starting to see the metaverse come in, and it's this very term that's being thrown around very loosely with a lot of the people that we work with and that we see, and we laugh about it, right? I was talking about, it's like people just want to build a game and they want to call it like a metaverse, right? Without
That's
any
kind of the
application.
angle I was gonna take, where it's like, for a lot of people, when they say metaverse, essentially what they mean is some sort of game, whether it's mobile based or web based, and now we're just talking about integrating things that individual owns into the game. So a good example of this would be, let's say, for those familiar with Fortnite, right? Imagine if there was a project out there that you bought an NFT. That NFT, let's say, was a skin in the game, right? So now when you go to play that game, you can take that skin that you own. You're the only one who owns it, and now use that as a playable character in the game. If that was the case, you would and could consider that a metaverse.
Yeah, I mean, to piggyback off of what you just said, it's really just you spending your real tangible cash, right? Taking money out of your wallet or your bank account, converting it into crypto, buying something that's at least digitally attainable, that you say that, hey, this is what I own. This is my digital ownership, right? This is the stamp of my proof of me owning this. And then now being able to use it in a game that you use for entertainment. And say that, hey, I own this, but because I own this, this is the perk that I get.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff going on right now. I mean, I would say, so if you're listening, like, okay, like, I know I've heard about the metaverse. Like, I think I know what it is. Like, how do I check it out? How do I get involved? I would say right now, if you're sitting there thinking that, two things you want to check out: Sandbox and Decentraland. I would say if you're a little bit less familiar with blockchain crypto, I'd say Decentraland would probably be the place for you. It's a little bit more straightforward, a lot
easier,
more,
way easier,
a lot more game-like. But I say that because there's people, I know Snoop Dogg threw a concert in the metaverse. I know that there are some DJs that have thrown concerts in the metaverse. I think 2 Chainz might have too, which is like pretty cool. And you can access these from your computer. If you have an Oculus, you can go into Facebook's metaverse, which is called Horizons. That one's pretty cool. You can do a lot of cool stuff in there. And they have not only stuff for like games and entertainment and stuff like that, but for work. You can have not in person, but virtual meetings and stuff. So it's really, we're at the beginning of what this could potentially look like, I think. And then there's also like
land-based property, so much. There are levels to that. There are levels to this.
There's
man.
even like mixed reality. I've seen some crazy stuff, dude.
Put a pause on this,
I know,
because you're going on a point. You're going at a point where even all these things that we just talked about, like, they're really high-level breakdowns. Like, imagine someone just listening the first time. I feel like they're not going to know what we're talking about. So I want to add to what you said earlier, which is when you're explaining Decentraland. Those are really good tips, by the way.
Yeah.
To start off with, Decentraland. Just to anybody listening or watching, is basically like, if you're familiar with Sims, if you growing up, you probably played Sims, or you know what Sims is. You have a little character, makes a family, builds buildings. You got to keep you're the mayor of your city. You got to keep the city. It's like a game, right? You got to keep the city people happy, or you don't make money. Blah blah blah. You're building a virtual life, a life that you don't have, maybe, or that you would want. A lot of people fantasize through that, right? That's why it's so popular. Games like this is you can basically create whatever you want in the virtual world that maybe it doesn't exist in the real world.
Yeah.
But then we've also seen the other side, where a lot of people have everything in the real world. Now they're doing the same thing in the virtual world and more, right? But same concept with Sims.
Yeah.
And with Decentraland, what they're doing is basically with Sims, the difference is it's limited and it caps out at a certain point unless like. It's not an open world environment. With Decentraland, it's an open world environment. An open world environment is basically kind of like GTA, right? You can do endless missions. Grand Theft Auto, right? Everybody knows that game.
Yeah.
Even when you finish the entire campaign, you can play that game forever, essentially.
Yeah.
Because it's an open world, multiple cities, they do updates. So that's what Decentraland is. You can create a mansion in there. You can create a house in there. You can create a city. You can create a museum. And then you can have people visit it. You can have people pay tickets to attend these things. It's literally real life, but in a virtual environment. You can buy plots of land like you would in real life, but you would buy it with the real cryptocurrency. And I mean, what are some brands that have gone into Decentraland? Can you remember? Can you think about
Decentraland? I would say is a little bit less popular with like buying of the land, but I could say on the flip side for Sandbox, I mean, you have people like Snoop Dogg. You have companies like Adidas and Nike.
Snoop Dogg and they all did Sandbox instead of Decentraland?
Yeah.
Didn't McDonald's do something in Decentraland, or am I tripping?
I don't know. I don't think so though.
Okay.
Sandbox is definitely like if you're trying to buy land, in my opinion, Sandbox is definitely where you want to be.
So Nike bought property in Sandbox?
I think.
Okay.
I for sure know Snoop Dogg did. I'm almost positive like Nike and or Adidas did as well.
Yeah.
Like if you go on OpenSea.io, which is the hub for buying NFTs and things like that
For Ethereum.
Well, you got some other cool integrations out with Solana, but yes, mainly Ethereum. Go to Sandbox. What you can do is you can see these different parts of land. Typically, they're called parcels. Now you can check that out, and then what you can do is you go to Sandbox's website, and then you can see the full map of Sandbox. So their metaverse. And then if you go to the map, you can see Snoop Dogg has well, not even yours, but you can see like who else has it. So like for example,
didn't somebody buy a plot of land for like $1 million or $1.5 million in the metaverse to just be neighbors with Snoop Dogg?
Exactly. That's literally what I was just about to say.
Oh, I'm sorry, I took that away.
Well, no, you're good. But like, it's crazy to think about. Like, if you're a real estate person, like,
so insane.
What is it? Location. Yeah. I just saw a video. Shout out, our boy Alon Afke. He just put up a video. I think today, where it's like he's talking to one of his coworkers and was like, "What's the most important thing in real estate?" And they were like, "Location." To your point, in the metaverse too, same thing. Someone spent so much money on land, virtual land, because it was next to Snoop Dogg.
So insane,
And Snoop Dogg's been doing some really cool stuff in the metaverse. But
yeah, I think you broke that down really nicely, Mr. Spatero.
I dived like pretty deep into this at one point.
I mean, the amount of stuff that me and Jack send each other on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, that's just metaverse tech related. Like,
yeah, well, I mean, we always want to be like super informed because we, as you guys know, for those listening, and if you don't, you'll find out right now, is like we're in the tech space and we have clients coming to us saying, "Hey, I want to build XYZ metaverse." So, obviously, with that being said, it's our job now to be educated and what the limitations are and.
Yeah, we're building a couple
like
of metaverse projects as we speak, and
pretty cool stuff.
It's super cool to be on the other side, from from all aspects. I want to talk about some more examples before we move on, and I think you talked about some of the most popular ones, right? But some of the ones that have a lot of market opportunity that don't have market domination yet, is property land-based NFTs right now that have a metaverse aspect to it, which is just owning or building a virtual city. Those
Okay.
have been super popular for the last 6 months, and I think that's the future. That's 100% what I believe in.
Yeah.
And like, there's so many more new projects that are coming in and trying to innovate and think outside of the box.
Yep.
If the market wasn't in such a bad bear sentiment right now, that would be significantly further along. But those are trends that we
Good
see.
time to buy.
Good
Hashtag
time.
not financial advice at all.
Hashtag not
But you know what's something interesting I saw today
What?
in regards to that is, you know, the platform Proppy?
Proppy.
Yeah, it's I think that's what it is. I'm almost positive.
Okay.
It's, if I might not be pronouncing it correctly, but it is one of the leading companies platforms for real estate
Okay.
using cryptocurrency. They just got I think it was like a either $50 million or $500 million like investment
Proppy.
into their platform. I just saw it on, like, there's this platform I follow called Trade VC,
Okay.
and they do like a lot of funding stuff.
Okay.
And I saw they just got funded there, and their big thing is land-based, land in the metaverse kind of stuff, and having to do with real estate and stuff like that's kind of like who they are. So the space is growing. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd love to see that, man. I think we're we're super involved in it. So for us, we're passionate about it, but definitely hope to be able to bring this to light for a lot of people. You might want to consider. Depends on where you are in your journey and your career, your path, or your business. And I think this is my advice a lot of times is, if you're an old school business or you haven't really done anything to get outside of the box or evolve or pivot, implement tech, implement new things that exist now that didn't exist when you started, and streamline and try to grow your business and evolve into other avenues. I would
mean,
say the
it's-
same thing for the metaverse.
I mean, we'll see what happens, obviously, but there's
Well-
some crazy stuff happening, like Walmart. I've seen so many videos of them putting some stuff out, like virtual shopping, where you're in the aisle and you're like picking up Cheerios and stuff, putting them in your cart, you check out, and then they deliver it. Like, it's freaking crazy.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing. Not everything is like metaverse though.
Yeah,
this
no,
is
for
where
sure.
this is where it gets really annoying for me. It's like every single person like starts talking
Gets,
about it's
like,
like
murky.
that's like AR, VR stuff to me that has existed in a while. So like I think it's important and it's time. So if you're building a metaverse project and you think you're building a metaverse project, start making a clear distinction of like what it is that makes it a metaverse project.
This is
Don't just
true.
call it because it's hot and cool and you want to be
Get a
in
little
there.
trendy.
Yeah. You know?
So I think we've kind of gone over like how to get involved. And I guess just to kind of reiterate, if you're like a stranger to crypto and things like that, 100% start on Decentraland. You don't even need a wallet, I think, to start and to
No.
register and to get on. Sandbox, a little bit more complex.
You don't have to pay anything to use Decentraland. It's literally free.
Well, even with Sandbox, I don't think you have to pay either.
Okay.
But Sandbox, you have to connect your wallet and do a little bit more, work, let's say. So if you're familiar with crypto or blockchain, you might want to start there.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, and then there's so many other levels to metaverse. From a beginner perspective, that's probably really good, so you can get your beak wet. But I think as you dive deeper into it, there's play to earn. There's so many other utilities that exist in the metaverse world that are super like crazy.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Play
Axie
to earn.
Infinity.
Can you make money in the metaverse? If so, how? Maybe a little breakdown here.
Can you make money in the metaverse? Are you asking if we've done it?
I know I haven't done it,
Okay.
but I know how to do it if I
Okay.
wanted to.
Okay. I have.
Okay.
And you know exactly which one I'm talking
Go
about.
ahead, go ahead.
I don't want to name it because I don't want to give any financial advice, but I bought a land-based property NFT really early on, and then I basically staked it, and then I was a holder long-term, and then there's a lot of like game mechanics involved in what I'm talking about. It's not as simple as what I'm saying, but it is a virtual metaverse property building world that they're creating, and they're on their way becoming blue chip. They've done so much since they launched it.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it because I don't want to promote them
You're good.
unnecessarily for no reason, but I'm a big believer in it, and but also I bought it. My initial investment on that was probably like $1,200.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that
when I
sounds
bought it
about
for.
right. Yeah.
and I held it, and within the first 2 weeks time, it like tripled or quadrupled. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
And it's basically
How can I not?
I know, and every single day that I held it, and held the other projects that I basically was part of it I was basically making passive income just for being an early adopter.
You want to go over some of the numbers?
I mean, every month probably we're looking at a base level. It was looking like $4,000, $5,000 almost at its peak. Now it's a lot less because of the bear market.
Mm-hmm.
Now every month we're probably looking at $1,000.
There it is, folks. There it is. So
My initial investment on that, $1,200 monthly return at its peak was like four grand, I'd say, on average
per month. I mean, there we go. So, I mean, yes, you can make money in Metaverse. Now, also, asterisk, do your own research. Make sure you understand what you're getting into, what you're doing, what the risks are, and things like that.
I want to make this very, very clear. This is after I've tried and tested and personally invested tens of thousands of dollars and lost a lot of money in the process in the Metaverse space. And not saying that this is like what the route I'm suggesting, but I'm saying it's not like I just threw a dart and it worked. It's through a lot of like different trials and it was successful, but doesn't mean it'll work for everybody.
Correct.
But
hey, it can happen. So make sure, just do your own research, and you never know.
Do you know anybody that made money on something like Decentraland or Sandbox? Because I mean, you can make money selling the plots of property, right? That's
yeah, I know.
self-explanatory.
I have like a few friends that made a lot of money off of like Sandbox's token and Decentraland's token. Like made like a lot. Like they were in it and like.
Were they yielding tokens?
No, they just they bought their currency in like 2000 and like. I don't want to be like a bot here.
Like 16, 17.
Yeah, like really early. Like their coin was worth like their token was worth like
early, actually.
Like yeah,
probably like 2019.
Yeah, something like that. But their token was like 0.000 something, and now their token. Last time I checked, around like 2. I don't know, like 3, 4. I'm holding some like mana. I just don't check it.
Yeah.
But they made.
That's what it's called, mana.
Decentraland's mana. Sandbox is sand, I think.
So what Jack is saying, if you're not familiar with what he's talking about, he's saying token. So all of these projects, all of these Metaverse projects have their own currency. And again, in the cryptocurrency world, each currency has its own unique name. So Mana, M-A-N-A, is Decentraland's currency.
Yeah.
It has its own market cap, its own liquidity pool, its own community of people that pump and dump, whatever. Pump and dump is probably a bad word to use.
I don't know.
I mean, like, just, bad words.
Just the prices fluctuate.
Fluctuates the prices.
Okay.
That's, you understand what I'm saying.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. Yeah. But yeah, a lot of people, I know a couple people that did pretty well with that.
Well, a lot of people probably did pump and dump those major coins. Let's not get it twisted. This is why it gets a bad rep. Okay.
Be careful.
Yeah.
Do your own research. Be careful. But I think one of the things we've kind of covered like some of the basics. One of the things I want to talk about with the Metaverse is, where do you think we're going? Like, what do you think? I'm talking about like real life application, like actual use case. Like, you want to share some ideas?
Where do we think it's actually going, or where do we want it to go? I think those are two different questions.
Take your choice. Take your pick. I'm open for either scenario.
One?
Yeah, go. Start with one, and maybe we'll cover the other one. Go ahead. Which one?
Where do I want it to go?
Yep.
Man, I want it to go to a point where you can buy virtual, like you were talking about mixed reality before, right? Mixed reality is so fascinating because it's basically like augmented or virtual reality, which everybody should know by now because it's been around for almost a decade, even though from its rawest form to what it is right now. Virtual reality is when you put up some goggles and you're playing a video game, right? Or you're entering a game by moving like a real life joystick. Mixed reality is when you're doing that, when you're actually controlling the joystick and it's supposed to be the real mechanics of what you're doing, but in a virtual world. If you just YouTube mixed reality, you'll get a good idea of what we're talking about. But I want the Metaverse world to be where the virtual reality goggles that you wear before when you're entering that Metaverse or that world is completely seamless. I don't have to wear a 5-pound headset. It's light, like you know,
Like sunglasses,
like
kinda?
simple glasses. Doesn't have to be super cool and nice, but as long as it's like smaller and lighter, where I can wear it for a couple hours and not get a headache.
Yeah.
A lot of people complain about that.
Yep.
And secondly, I want some cool, sleek gloves, right? Comfortable gloves that you
know who's
slip
working
on.
on that, right?
I know there are a lot of technology companies that are working on that.
Facebook is Meta.
I've seen some
is
insane stuff, man.
going
But
crazy with that.
You've
right now.
seen the ones that I've seen, which are the ones with insane amount of cables coming out of it, and it's like
Yes.
it's scary to even see if you want to wear them because you might shock and kill yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Doesn't it look like that?
No, it 100% does. But they're making it. I don't mean to interrupt you, but this is some
No, go
cool
ahead.
shit.
Yeah.
They're making it. So you put these gloves on, and let's say like you're in a world, right? And let's say like you go in the world, you go to pick up like a cup. Like they're making it so like if you're wearing the gloves and you pick up the cup in the virtual world, like you feel the cup in real life. Like that is
that's so
different.
crazy.
That is so crazy.
There's like sensors on the inside and sensors on the outside of the
It's
glove where you can feel
absolutely
the
crazy.
exact same pulses of like what you'd feel at the fingertips. I mean, it's so crazy, man. I mean, so I want that to be a seamless experience where it's a light glove, you pay. It also should be user friendly and consumer friendly, where you're buying that whole goggle and gloves package for maybe less than $2,000 and not like absurd numbers that I'm seeing right now, which is
Yeah.
like 10, 20K.
Yeah.
And once we have that, I mean, the virtual world is going to be like Ready Player One. Like you know what I'm talking about?
Is that where you want it to go?
I think that would be so cool, man.
Yeah.
That would be so cool. And it's like we're already in it. Like if your kids, your cousins, your nephews, your nieces are already playing Fortnite, Roblox, all these games. They're already so engulfed in it. That's where the world's going to go, where they're going to be looking for jobs in Roblox and in Fortnite. Like, I'm not even kidding, in that virtual world.
Sounds sick to me.
But also, like, now then I want them to implement a virtual currency system within these meta worlds that we're talking about, like Horizons. That would be so cool. That's where I want it to go. What about you?
I think I'm on the same page. I mean, like for me, I think that I think the gaming stuff's gonna get kind of old pretty quickly. Again, even now, like Axie, like they're not doing really well right now. Like,
Yeah.
they're actually doing like pretty horrible. And for those of you who don't know, Axie Infinity was like, you know,
One of the
blue
first
chip,
PD
top tier play to earn games for a very long time.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't know, very long time, but for quite a bit.
Well, for the life cycle that we're talking about, it is very long.
True.
Yeah, yeah.
But even outside of that, I'm very interested to see what it looks like for like businesses and like day-to-day operations. Like, you know, there's a lot of companies out there, us included, where we have, you know, there's part of our team that is remote. Like they're not in the office, you know? And like, what does the experience look like of us all getting in, you know, to the
Facebook's working on that.
yeah,
Meta's
getting into
working
this
on that.
world, and then now we're all virtually sitting at a desk. We're able to get up, draw on a board.
On a virtual
you know,
board
like
with the
there
goggles,
are
yeah.
some things out there now, like especially on the Oculus and stuff. Like it's cool, but the reality is, like
It's
you
not
said,
seamless. It's clunky.
it's not seamless. Like it's clunky, and again, like no one wants to wear. Like I have an Oculus myself, and like honestly, for the first like month, like it was like insane. Like I loved it, but now like I don't really touch it much. You know, like maybe like, I'll
I
mess
know,
around,
was so-
and I have it
used
for.
so much when you first got
I
it.
know, like I have it for here. Like I'm gonna bring it in. I was thinking, just to
For
kind of
this
leave
episode,
it. No, not for this episode. Like just
Okay.
for the office, though, because we are building out like so many,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
virtual like
Be good to
worlds and
have,
stuff.
yeah.
But yeah, I think that would be, like once the regular average consumer can attain this for a reasonable cost, and it's not like too hard to figure out. Well, I think that's when it's like.
So that's where you also want it to go.
I think that's the only way that it can go if it's going to be like here and like be mainstream,
Okay.
in my opinion.
I
Like,
think that's a
don't
really
see-
smart take.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
But I think that answers my second question, or your second question to me, which
Which is?
was where do we think it's going? I think it's exactly what you just said. I think that's where it's going to go.
yeah. I mean, because the fact is, like, if we can get to a place where businesses, like, it actually makes sense for a business to spend
Yeah.
$10,000 to get their team up and running
Yep.
in the VR. Like,
Yep.
imagine like someone calling out sick. It's like, all right, I can't come in, but like, all right, I'll hop in the virtual office for our 2 to 3 o'clock meeting. Like, that's insane.
So crazy. So
Legitimately
insane.
insane.
Yeah, man. I think,
It's like Zoom, but like another level.
yeah, I've seen
Wonder if Zoom's
technologies.
gonna do something.
I've seen technologies that have experimented with virtual reality headsets and Zoom and stuff like that.
With Zoom, like the
Yeah,
company?
integrated. Not Zoom, like video call, conference calls,
Yeah.
integrated in virtual reality.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's so freaking cool. I mean, we're tech nerds, right? Like, we're hardcore into this world. So we get super passionate. But I mean, how could you not, man? That's where the world's pivoting to. And that's where everything is going to shift to in the future. So, you got any other final takes here before we
I
wrap
think
this up?
final take would be, if you're someone that's new, we kind of went over how to get started, how to get a little more familiar. Quick summary: Decentraland, Sandbox. Start with those two, and you'll be able to spiral out into all the other stuff for sure.
Yeah.
But I guess overall, the world, I think, is changing, and if you're someone that is opposed or interested, do some research, check out the platforms, be familiar, because what I can say is, from an investment standpoint, there's definitely money to be made. As always, do your own research.
Yeah, 100%. And I want to give a shout out to, everybody that's been consistent and subscribing to us, following us on Spotify, and downloading our episodes. It's been really cool to see the stats and the analytics. It's been really awesome. And
We appreciate you guys.
Yeah, and leave us some comments and feedbacks on what are your thoughts on the metaverse and like the space that we're in. If you have any questions for us that you want us to address,
drop them.
Find us on Twitter, where I imagine you still haven't figured out what your Twitter handle is, right?
My Twitter handle is at my first name, last name, at Jack Spataro.
Cool. And you can find me on Twitter at SARG.
At BOT.
Yeah, that's my alt account. That's my alt account. Yep.
Okay, got it.
The primary account is at SARG CHANTE.
Yeah.
It means Sarge sings in French. But yeah,
that's cute.
But I'm on Twitter, and so is Jack. We're pretty active there. And Venture Hustles is everywhere else. And you want to sign us off? We also got a little bit of audience in the back today. We got Iman here. Shout out Iman.
Let's go, Iman.
Surprised
Shout
that
out.
he this was this interesting, or was you almost fell asleep?
No, that's interesting.
Cool.
Good.
Thanks, Iman.
Yeah, so I appreciate you saying that. Appreciate everyone watching. Any questions or whatever you want us to talk about something, definitely let us know. We're 100% open to covering those things. And as always, we're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple, we're on Google, we're on iTunes. Wherever you think we are. So we appreciate the love. Like, comment, subscribe. And with that being said, it's been a pleasure. Hope you guys enjoy. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Venture hustles, this is venture hustles. Turn nothing to something, start a business, get it jumping. Ay, told myself that I would make it and I'm never quitting. Staying motivated and I started with a vision. Yeah.